It was a mutual agreement, though. She still left some bags, so hopefully I can get rid of those bags this week. Looking forward to it. So you never know what's going to happen. Which brings to mind something that I wanted to talk about this morning, and that is the word fair. Yeah. It's an interesting concept, fair. I always like to look at it as an acronym, false events appearing real. And a lot of times it is. And I have to tell you, as I go through this process with cancer, that I have had moments of a little bit of fear. I'm human. It happens. But I dealt with it. I'd like to quote Taylor Swift, actually, at this point. She said, fearlessness is the ability to know you have some fears, but jump in anyway. Right?
Hear amen to that.
Yeah. So, way back when I was about, I think I was probably 8 years old. My first 5 years I spent in New Jersey, in the city. I didn't know how to swim. After 5, I was shipped off to Connecticut. I lived with my aunt for a while, and then my mom and my stepdad showed up about when I was about 8. And we would go to the beach. We lived in Connecticut, right on Long Island Sound, so it was beautiful. Beautiful area if you've ever been there. And if you do go back east, go in fall. Maple sugar, the trees are beautiful. Well, I loved going to the beach. I liked to run up and down and play in the water and do all that stuff. But on this particular day, my stepfather put me in an inner tube and started to take me out into the water. And at first it was fun. I said, okay, yeah, this is cool. But the further we got away from shore, the more frightful I became because I couldn't swim. And of course, my stepfather had an interesting way of doing things, and he kept threatening to throw me in. That didn't help my fear, trust me. We ended up about 100 yards off from the shore, and I was starting to really freak out. I got hysterical. I was so afraid. And finally, I forgot what he said, but he got frustrated with me and brought me back in. I ran to my mother. I was crying. I was sobbing. I said, I never want to go to the beach again, which is not true. I did. But I was very careful. I did learn to swim in camp about a couple of years later. It's kind of interesting how that all happened. But as I look back, as I'm older, some things came to mind that I didn't realize back then when I was 8 years old in that inner tube. And that was this. It was low tide. My stepdad wasn't swimming. He was standing. If he had taken me off the inner tube, I would have been able to stand and just have my head above the water. But I was so afraid. I was so frightened. I didn't get that. I thought I could drown. That's what fear kind of does to us. It kind of freezes us in place, and it makes it hard for us to move forward. It makes it hard for us to think straight. It really kind of gets in the way. So I like to give it a boot. So fear with this cancer thing, every once in a while something happens where I get just a little bit frightened. And when they put Amy's PICC line in, that was a new experience for me. So I was a little frightened about it. And when they tried to do it, they did it in this arm. Of course, they hit a nerve, and it was like getting shot with a gun. It didn't go well at all. So, and there's blood everywhere, and the nurse goes, oh, well, let's do the other arm. Now I'm going, really? You're going to do this one? Anyway, it went in here, no problem. So I got over my fear of that. I basically, when it was time to have it, to do it, I just said, okay, let's go for it. I didn't know what to expect. I've had several things like that happen as I go through this course with this particular disease. And every time I come up to that wall of fear, false events appearing real, I'm pushed through it. And when I get on the other side, I look back and go, oh, that was not a big deal. That's really kind of what it was like. So now that I've talked to you about that, let's get to the heart of what I really want to talk about this morning. Let's divide this podium up here into two sections. This is one section A, and this is section B. Section A is eternity. Okay? Try to imagine eternity. And with eternity, imagine immortality. I can't even get my hands around it because eternity is beyond my reckoning. Okay? So I'm just going to put it in this container right here. Section A. Section B, our life here on earth, this present lifetime. Section B compared to section A, that quick. That quick. That quick, our lifetime, our lifespan here compared to eternity and immortality. So no matter, last time I was here, I talked about karma and how important it is to really be aware of your karma. What you're putting out there is coming back to you. What I want to emphasize today is the fact that if this lifetime we have is like that, compared to eternity and immortality, because we are immortal. We're going to be in this box. We're in this box, actually. We just stepped out over here for a little while. When it's done, we step right back into it. Kind of nice, huh? Anyway, when we know this is here, regardless of what your karma is, regardless of what you've done, regardless of how you beat yourself up about things you've done in the past, I don't care what you've done, sooner or later, you're going to go back to the Father's home. There's no way you can get out of that. You're going to go back from which you came. You're going to go back here, section A. Section B is just a temporary flash in the pan. So, start working on things that make a difference in this flash in the pan while you're here. Because when you get over here, it's a lot different. It's a lot different. Every single one of us is going to face this sooner or later. Some of us are a little afraid of that. You know, some people are so afraid of public speaking they'd rather die before coming up here and speak. Fear is powerful. It can be very powerful if you let it get a hold of you and take control. Is it okay to have fears? Sure. We're human beings. There's things we're going to be a little bit afraid of or frightened of. That's normal. Don't let it sidetrack you. Don't let it derail you. Keep moving forward. You'll move through it. I'm sure that every single one of you that is sitting here this morning has had an experience where you were a little afraid, and then you went through the experience, and when you got on the other side, you went, wow, that wasn't so bad. Is that correct? Yeah. Because show hands, everybody's had something like, yeah, the majority of you in. So it's a normal thing to deal with. Don't let it derail you. Push through it. You'll get on the other side of it. Do as much as you can in a positive way, in a positive nature, with everyone that's around you, and especially to yourself while you're in section B, because you won't be in section B but that long before you're back into section A. Okay? No way you can get away from being in section A, because that's where you came from. You're going to go back there. Does it make sense? Okay. Because I felt like last month I kind of hammered you a little bit on the karma. Sometimes we don't realize how much we do with karma because we think, okay, if I have karma, it's because of actions that I've done. We don't typically think about karma as being thoughts that we have, because that creates karma too. And it creates a lot more karma than our actions, because all action is preceded by thought. And a lot of times we have a thought, but we don't act. We still have the thought. It still puts the energy out there. You still create the karma. It's just how it works. There's no way to erase that. That's how it works. So a lot of times I've talked to people and I've listened to them, and let me say it this way. The person we disrespect the most is ourselves. Okay? And because of that, a lot of times in our language, in our self-talk, we put ourselves down. We're creating a karma for ourselves. All right? So a lot of times when I talk to people, because I do a lot of coaching and career coaching, and when I talk to people, I listen to how they talk. And a lot of times they say, well, I can't do this or that. That's not going to ever happen for me. And I say, wait a minute. Don't do that, because that's your self-talk. You're creating your belief system, how you talk and think to yourself. So if you want to really be very positive, start thinking positively about yourself. Because if you can't think positive about yourself, there is no way under the sun you can think positive about other people. Periodically, but not 24/7. It won't happen. You have to love yourself for who you are. You're a beautiful spiritual being. And if you could see each one of your auras, you would go, wow. And there's a lady in here with an aura machine, if you really want to look at it. Raise your hand. She'll be happy to do that with you. I'm sure she would. So get her after service. Because she's excited about it, wants to use it a lot. So if you really want to see it, yeah, check it out. But we all have it. We're all of our energies are intermingling with each other here in this building from our auras. It's just not, a couple of feet from you. Your energy just boom. We fill this whole room up. One person fills this whole room up with their energy field. So when you put all of us in here, the energy field is amazing. That's why on Sundays, I love walking around on Sundays, because so many people go to church and so many people are thinking positive thoughts, and the energy in the community just feels good. It always feels good on Sunday. And that's part of the reason why. Normally, what was that song? Walking a Wild Side? One day of praying and 6 nights of fun. Well, yeah, they're messing around 6 nights. It's crazy energy, and then that one day of praying, and everything goes, gets peaceful again. So there's a lot we can do while we're in Section A. Before we go back to Section B, before we go back to Section A. There's a lot we can do over here. And even though it seems like a lifetime, seems like a long time, it's really a flash in the pan compared to eternity. It really is just a flash in the pan. I always get it when somebody says, well, I'm not going to reincarnate again. We'll see. We'll see how that goes for you. It's pretty quick. We can really do a lot in this Section B when we're here if we put our minds to it. Because we're going to end up coming in here quite a few times. It's just the way it works. So what I'd like to end with is the fact that friends are important. Okay? They build you up when you're down. They laugh at you when you're happy. And I wrote a poem about it a little while back, because I do write poetry a bit. And I consider the Divine Fellowship and everyone here part of my circle of friends. Now, I don't really know everyone's name. I know most of your names, but I don't know everyone's name. But I always have considered this congregation part of my circle of friends. So let me close with this poem. It's entitled, Circle of Friends. If there is one thing on which I can depend, it would be my close circle of friends. If my days are dark and gray, my sense of self-worth has all but gone. My sunshine seems hidden away, and I don't have the will to go on, I know in my heart that I can always call upon my circle of friends. When happiness fills my day, and all I want to do is play, I smile with life's funny ways, and laughing at nothing I say. If I want to share this, I can. It would be with my circle of friends. Who are these friends, you ask me? I answers, the ones that set me free. They ask for nothing, but are always there. These are my true friends, most sincere. If there's one thing on which I can depend, it would be my close circle of friends. God bless them all for who they are, for each and every one is a star. No matter if they're happy or blue, my close circle of friends is always true. If there's one thing on which I can depend, it would be my close circle of friends. The world will turn day after day, and no matter what it brings my way, there's one thing on which I can depend, and that, of course, is my close circle of friends. And if you want to join us, you can. Be welcome within the circle of friends. So I say with love in my heart, no matter where you are, we'll never part. And when I think of you at day's end, I thank God above that you're my friend. If there's one thing on which I can depend, it would be my most cherished circle of friends. Namaste. My circle of friends. You need this now? Okay.
We'll do this correct.
You gotta love this place.
Thank you so much for speaking about fear and safety and all that.